and then work as a team and ultimately I think we can maybe not solve the problem, but minimize it drastically. Thank you.
3 words: Crisis Triage Center. How are you guys going to help us get it open?
And you know what? That's something I forgot to mention. I wanted to talk about that. Talk to the right people. Talk to people. Push, demand. Don't expect less than no, or less than yes, and do whatever you can. I'm not the sheriff yet, so I don't know what political power I can use, but I guarantee you one thing: I will be looking for it, and once I find it, I will utilize it. We do need to get that going. I think we spent millions so far in the county, and it's just sitting there. And I think the triage center actually started off a lot with the help of our son, who had very serious issues, and that's what kind of got the idea, from my understanding. So it's something very deep, personal, and I expect to follow through and make sure that it does work. Thank you.
It's definitely needed. We need it here in Dona County. We need it for years and years and years. I believe it's that building where the detention center is. It's just sitting there. They spent a whole lot of money just to have a pretty building there. Green, yes, you tried it. $7 million. $7 million. Like I said, when we can take some of this money that I talked about earlier, that we're saving on all these other things, and hopefully we start funding that, doing our part. Mr. Preciado said we can't do it by ourselves. It's going to take a whole lot of people from the county commissioners on down, people pushing for it. But once they see that the sheriff's department is behind it, the sheriff's behind it, I'm behind it, it's going to be a lot easier. But that $7 million pretty building is just sitting there, just wasting away. And we need to utilize it, not only for the building, but for the people that need it.
It isn't often that I'm speechless, but on the triage, I've got to tell you, I'm speechless. I have no idea what transpired. I mean, I'm aware of the money originally being financed for that. What happened in the interim, the last 7 or 8, 10 years, what has happened, I have no idea. I even spoke to a commissioner recently and asked if staff ever comes before you and just says, you know that thing we did a year or 2 ago? That was just a dumb idea. And the commissioner said, no, we've never heard staff say that. So I honestly don't know why, as he has said, we have a beautiful building with, I think, 2 beds or 3 beds. It's almost nothing. That whole issue needs to be historically looked at, and by that I mean 10 years, and examined closely. And the people that are currently sitting in the BOCC need to be informed as to that history, and they need to be focused on how we move that forward, because as they've said, that isn't something the sheriff alone would do. But the point is, there is just a lack of communication that has proceeded to the present regarding that particular elephant, I guess, in the room. And so I would move toward really examining, by even looking at the resolutions, let's go back and see what was resolved to be done, and let's see where we are today, and let's try to move that towards something that's actually workable for our community.
Great, thank you. It looks like we have time for one more round of questions. We have by our schedule, we have 11 minutes left, so I'm going to try to be quick. I've chosen one that hopefully can be answered quickly. When it comes to hiring deputies, what personal qualities would you look for in job candidates?
Well, recruiting and hiring is going to be looked at from a standpoint when I'm the sheriff as to true community policing model. We may not be, in fact, recruiting or appealing to the same type of person that currently is attracted to this particular department. We may be looking at people who never actually before thought they might be interested in a law enforcement career. I think with a change in the model, we're going to begin to look appealing to a lot of people that want to be part of this mission and want to see this driven forward. We can change the psychological test for which we recruit for currently. You know, we all go through a psychological test. There are certain questions that are asked of everyone. Guess what? We can change those. We can change how recruiting is looked at to widen the scope of the personality or the type of person who we want to fit in to our department. Okay? We're not going to just be looking to take anybody coming. We want people who can buy into our idea, buy into our model, and who want to be part of something of the future and not something of the past. And I believe if we clearly state that mission, we clearly direct our department towards it, and we start implementing different facets as to the psychological testing, we're going to begin to attract people who support our mission 100%. We need the buy-in.
What do we look for when we recruit individuals? Well, for one thing, we don't care what they look like, who they are as far as black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Chinese, female, male. You want as many as people to apply that you can so you can pick the creme de creme. You have to understand, Dona County Sheriff's Department is a different policing type than the city of Las Cruces or Albuquerque Police Department or El Paso Police Department. So you have to pick the right individual to fit the right mold. You look at honesty, you look at sincerity, you look at them wanting to be here for the long term and not for a 2-3 year term that they get trained, educated, and then they go off seeking better and greener pastures. Of course, that's your job to make sure they don't go off to greener and better pastures. You try and make it greener and better here in your own backyard. So you look for just sincerity, honesty, and you don't want to hire the kid that got beat up in elementary school or high school and now wants to come back and take it out on the people on the street. You have to be very, very picky about that. And there's ways to try and weed out. Are you going to be 100% successful? No. But you can darn well try your best. Thank you. Let's do it.
Okay, like Mr. Preciado said, you have that group that was beat up in high school now and they weren't badge and getting in with society. Unfortunately, like you said, we can't beat them out. But one thing we can do is look at all the people who are applying, see if they have, and this doesn't, it's not going to say that there are no rules that get hired, but see if they have family friends here, because they have a stake in the community. Secondly, you have to make it to where they want to stay. It's always green, like the old saying says, it's greener on the pasture on the other side or whatever. It always is. It always looks it that way. But I visioned myself when I joined the Dona Sheriff's Department. I'm retiring here. I was a victim, if you want to say, of headhunting. I hate headhunting. That's one thing I will not stand for, is headhunting. Period. That has no place in any part of our society. But one way that we can make sure that we get the best of the people is simply just by recruitment. You might get a 1 out of 10 that fits our community. This is happening to be Spanish speakers. We need Spanish speakers. That's not going to be one of the criteria. Okay, you can't speak Spanish, you can't be a deputy. No, I'm not saying that. But if you do speak Spanish, come in, have some kind of test, and pay them maybe 50 cents extra. Because I've been called time and time again, we need a Spanish speaker. I'm not the greatest Spanish speaker by no means. I am bilingual, but by no means am I the greatest Spanish speaker. I'm not going to sit here and say I am. But make it to where they're bringing in a facet that you need in the community. And not so much reward them for it, but tell me what, thank you. We didn't send you to school for this, but you know what, here you go. Here's 25 cents an hour more. Some people might call it unfair, but that's something that the department didn't have to pay to send your school. But we're not going to, real quick, we're not going to sit here and get, there's no cookie cutter way to get the best person. Like Mr. Preciado said, it's you come in, and if you make it, you made it. And I'm very biased towards veterans because I am a veteran myself. So start with veterans. Start with veterans. Thank you.
I'm going to dip into the ACLU's bucket and ask you about body cams and expanding them or not.
I'm sorry, I thought we missed you for the last question.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, no.
Body cams, I'm in favor of body cams, but I'm also in favor of a very good policy that supports body cams. The thing I see nationwide is the ability to choose at the time when you want to turn the body cam off. That was recently occurred where they said, mute your body cam. Some of that, when I hear things like that, I want to know the policy behind a body cam. I want to know really what can and can't be done with them, and if we're going to use them, let's use them fully. Let's make what we do fully transparent. And I bring up the policy because a lot of times the policy doesn't match the equipment. And we need to really look closely at that. So part of me is speaking without the full knowledge. I support the concept of body cams. I definitely do. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with dashboard cams. But I also question at times when I see these clips on the news is, well, wait a minute, what is the policy that the officer is under at the time that camera is being used? So I would say let's make it let's be fully informed going forward regarding body cams. Otherwise, I'm fully into transparency. I think if we've done the right thing by training our people, I think we should be support our actions, and that's certainly the way to do it.
I believe we should use them. They're expensive. Do we have the money for them? Time will tell, but I believe they are a necessity. I do believe that, like Kim said, a policy has to be enforced, and it's got to be enforceable. You can't just put something in writing, and if it happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. It's got to be enforceable. And you make it. I would say that if you're going to have a body cam, 100% of the time. You can't say, well, in this situation we do, this situation we don't. There's always that gray line. So I say yes for body cams. Of course, there's got to be money for it, and the policy has to be enforceable. Thank you.
Body cams, I'm all in favor because I myself have used it. And body cams, let me tell you one thing: they keep everybody honest. From the person wearing the body cam to the person that is getting filmed. People right now, we all have smartphones. We're getting filmed all the time. When you tell people they're on body cam, they get mad and they say, "Hey, you can't film me." Well, guess what? You can't. I love body cams personally. Like I said, they keep everybody honest. Everybody's honest, and the policy. There should be always a policy in place. I know where I work right now, our policy is anytime you deal with the public, either your recorder's on or your body cam's on if you have a body cam. our cameras in our units, it's a mic on your shoulder. You get out of the YouTube body cam, it's still recording what you say. So there's ways to get around the video part, because you're always being recorded what you say. To cut this short, I am the biggest proponent of body cam. I love body cams. Like I said, they'll either save you, or you'll hang yourself with, and they'll save you. Period. Thank you.
Okay. You've all answered the question? Okay. So I guess what we're going to do is do a wrap up, and what we'd like to do is give each of you a couple of minutes to make a closing statement, and we'll start with the last person who spoke, the controversial.
I'll make this real quick. I started in 1987, like I told you before, in the sheriff's department. I've seen it go from where it was the proudest point of my life, other than going to the Army. I love coming to work, but unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where people hate coming to work. And that's what I've been told. That's how it was when I was there. It shouldn't be that way. Like I said, customer service. Period. Customer service. I think I know I would be your next sheriff, make a good sheriff, because I do have a lot of stake in this community. From Hatch all the way down to Sunland Park. I have worked here, I have friends here, I have family here, whom I have committed my life to them, and I will commit whatever time I have left to them. Do I get nervous going out on traffic stops? I get nervous putting on the uniform every day, especially when it comes to all these officers getting shot. I do, but that's a choice I made. The choice I made is to protect my community, to give my life, if need be, to my community. I love my job. I love the people in the community. Unfortunately, sometimes I have to arrest some of those people, but that's my job. I think the hardest part, real quick, of my wife getting used to is people coming up to me and shaking my hand, and she'd say, "What's that? I arrested him or her." That in and of itself is, I feel good, because you don't treat people just because you wear that badge. You know better than they are. You just have a job that not everybody wants to do, and you don't treat people like they're nothing just because you wear that badge. You treat them the same when you arrest them. If you arrest them, that's not your job to decide what the consequences are. Thank you.
Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Just by you being here tells me that you're interested, that you're good people, that you care about your community. Thank you, gentlemen, for your questions. And I would like to talk to you a little later. But nonetheless, I know I am running for sheriff from the heart. I'm not, a little story. I've been a cop 38 years. Now that I'm running for sheriff, I've approached a lot of people asking for their support. People I know, good friends, people we hung out with and such. And they look at me and they, obviously, you're going to go to somebody you like asking for their support. So each and every one of them would very enthusiastically say, yeah, we have good, we're awesome that you're running for sheriff. But don't you have to be a police officer first? Well, I've been a police officer for 38 years. So the story is, I wasn't walking around puffing out my chest with my badge and my gun. Some of these officers you see 7 o'clock in the morning in Pickwick with the shorts and the T-shirt and police on their cap and they're off duty. I'm a person. I'm for the community. I'm not. You've heard of the Gang of Blue. To some extent, there is some of that floating around. And I don't agree with it. I don't believe in it. But nonetheless, I am running as a person and for the citizens of Dona County. I'm running for the right reason. I've got the experience. I feel I'm the best qualified candidate in the field. And I feel that Dona County deserves to have a sheriff like myself, because I will surround myself with top-notch, honest, hardworking, loyal people. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you. It's been great, and as my colleague here said, it shows your interest, and it is greatly appreciated. I'm asking you as voters to turn your back on the status quo. I'm asking you to look forward with me, and I have the vision, I have the experience, I have the expertise, and I have the passion to lead us to that point. And we are at a defining time, both in the county and in the nation. And I have the vision, and I ask you to come along with me to see it through. I think we can become preeminent in law enforcement, not just another department. I want to be the best. I want our department to be the best, not only in New Mexico, but as a prototype for the nation going forward. We can be that. In 2008, I walked into the headquarters on Motel Boulevard. I've said this many times, as an internal affairs investigator. And I was delighted then, as I am now, to know many wonderful people who work for you hard every day. And I vowed through the years that I would not turn my back on their efforts. And I join them today to bring to you another way to do business. Thank you all.
All right, I'd like to thank the participants and our partners from ACLU and NAMI. And we actually have the room reserved for about 25 minutes. So what I'd like to do is encourage our candidates to circulate around the audience to get an opportunity to engage with their potential voters a little bit further.
Camera died.